Hi, this is Matt Furey with Psycho-Cybernetics 365. I have a fantastic show for y'all today. Before I get into it, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. The question for today and for a number of videos that I'm planning on putting out is, how do you defeat the failure mechanism? How do you turn feelings of failure and frustration around? How do you turn them inside out? If you look at the Psycho-Cybernetics updated and expanded book, in the chapter, The Failure Mechanism, how to make it work for you instead of against you, you are given the picture of failure in the form of an acronym. The letters of the acronym and what they stand for are somewhat variable. I will give you what Maltz wrote, what Dr. Maltz wrote. The F stands for frustration. The A symbolizes unbridled or misdirected aggressiveness. The I stands for insecurity. The L for loneliness. The U for uncertainty. The R for resentment. The E for emptiness. Some of these I could add other words to. For example, the F in the failure mechanism could also stand for fear. The A, which stands for aggressiveness, could also be anger and anxiety. And then we have other symptoms of the failure mechanism that are not encompassed in the letters that are used. We have W for worry. We have S for self-doubt. But those letters aren't in the word failure, so they're not in the definition of what is the failure mechanism or what are the symptoms of it. Let's start today with frustration. There are a couple sentences in the description for frustration that I want to elaborate on. The first one has to do with perfection. We also learn to accept the fact that perfection is neither necessary nor required, and that approximations are good enough for all practical purposes. Many people, now that was Dr. Maltz speaking, now I'm speaking. Um, Many people have this idea of chasing perfection, of everything that you do, you want it to be perfect. If you're a golfer, you want the perfect golf swing. If you are an artist, you want your drawing to be 100% perfect. If you're a writer, you want to be perfect. If you're a singer, you are never off key, not even for a single note. Well, this is unrealistic. There are no players in any Hall of Fame, in any sport or any activity who were perfect. There is, even when you see someone who appears to have the perfect swing, he or she doesn't. There are always flaws in everything. Writers, such as myself, will go through something that I have written and I'm getting ready to publish. I will edit it a few times. And one of the realities is, after it's published, you may still find some typo or a word you used that you wished you used a different one. But you got to live with it. You cannot beat yourself up indefinitely for a mistake that was made. This is one of the factors that you have to keep in mind. Chasing perfection is stupid. Now, working toward being as good as you possibly can, working on perfecting your technique, perfecting your performance is wonderful. But at the same time, you got to keep in mind that you're never going to really reach it. You're never going to be absolutely perfect. Even when other people think what you did was perfect, you yourself, as a professional, know that there were tiny little flaws in it. This is the first part of the frustration piece in Psycho-Cybernetics to go over. The second part is really important, and it's something I tell my clients all the time when they are frustrated. They're working toward a goal and they feel blocked. They feel that they can't get any traction. They aren't even taking action toward the goal. Well, why is that? Well, let me read you the final sentence under the heading frustration. Chronic frustration usually means that the goals we have set for ourselves are unrealistic, or the image we have of ourselves is inadequate, or both. There's a lot in this. An unrealistic goal is a goal that is too big. What are we taught to do in goal setting workshops all throughout the self development community? We're taught to think big. In so many words, we're taught to set unrealistic goals. It doesn't mean they can't be achieved. It just means that they're too big for you currently. Having a 20-year goal, having 5 20-year goals in 5 different areas of your life can lead to massive levels of frustration because you are not living in the present. This is where you split the atom. You look at your unrealistic goal and you cut it in half. When you cut it in half, you now have something that is more realistic, but it still may be too big. So you cut it in half again. And then you start to monitor your own emotional response. Do you feel unblocked? Do you feel that you have no resistance? Are you at a level of zero resistance? If not, you split it again. So, for example, in the writing of the book Psycho-Cybernetics 365, I had to take a quote from Dr. Maltz's flagship book, Psycho-Cybernetics, put it at the top of a page, and then write about it. Give more depth to it, more instruction, tell you what it really means and how you can use it. Well, when I thought about the fact that I needed 365 pages worth of commentary, that was unrealistic. It was unrealistic in the sense of me getting going. But when I split the atom and split it again and again and again, and came up with a workable everyday goal of writing 3 pages, then it was very easy for me to get myself into gear. It was very easy for me to get started. When I thought about the enormity of writing 365 pages, that was too much. I split the atom and gave myself a daily goal that if I repeated it every single day without fail, if I just did 3 entries, then I would be done with the book in a few months. Over time, as I implemented this strategy, I went after this daily goal, I got momentum and the goal became larger. I could do 5 a day. I could do 7 a day. Toward the end, when I was down to my final 2 months, 61 entries left. I could see light at the end of the tunnel. The momentum was so big that I was able to write 10 or more entries per day. In fact, the very last day of the initial draft was 17 entries. I was working from early in the morning till late in the evening, and the time flew by. If I gave myself that goal to begin with, of 15 or 17 entries a day, once again, that was too big and I wouldn't have gotten started. Now you get to the end of the book, the first draft of the manuscript is done. Now it's time for editing. And the editing itself is laborious, it's tedious. You're going through, you're finding your mistakes, you're finding your imperfections, you're correcting them. And you do that one big round for one big round. But do you do the whole book in one day? No. You take your time. You do one entry at a time. You get 1 month worth of edits done in a day or two. Then you go to the next month. This is important. You have to give yourself realistic goals. And you do this by thinking smaller, not by thinking big. Thinking big has its place. What is its place? Thinking big is something you do when you have momentum. It is not something you do when you're just getting started. I will be back soon with more on how to defeat the failure mechanism. Please leave your comments in the section below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and to the website, psycho-cybernetics.com.